Hello and welcome to Star Citizen University, and in this video we're going to be looking at basic bounty hunting, so it's not going to be complex stuff. If you are already an accomplished bounty hunter, this is not the video for you. We will do a more advanced bounty hunt video in the future, but this is for the people who have commented and saying that when they think about taking their ship into combat they get the fear, which is probably a Scottish expression, but you get the idea. So we're going to be looking at where do you go bounty hunting, how should you outfit your ship, how should you outfit yourself, how does the AI behave, how can you kill them, and how much money can you earn. And without further ado, we will start off with what do you take with you when you're bounty hunting? Ditch the fancy shit. This is probably the most important thing about bounty hunting. Your fancy armour, your nice weapons, and all of the lovely things that we like to hang off our characters. Get rid of it, because you're gonna die. It's a question of when, not if. And it is absolutely senseless to lose all your nice gear because you flew into an asteroid. So get rid of basically absolutely everything and put on a good old-fashioned noob suit. Just your plain, straightforward replacement. White suit, a white helmet. Don't need a med pen because if you blow up in space, it's not going to be much use. You don't need anything at all, basically. So, yep, this is how we are going to war, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to war in the noob suit. Okay, ship outfitting. So this is obviously going to depend on which ship you happen to have to hand, and if you're a new player, that's probably going to be either an Aurora, a Mustang, or, as we see here, the Avenger Titan. Obviously this is a slightly fancier paint job, but it's still the old-fashioned Space Penguin at heart. So what do you need to change? And the answer to that is nothing at all. But you can make your life a wee bit easier by making a couple of changes. Now, you can upgrade your quantum drive. I've got an Atlas on this. That's what I'd recommend for every size 1 ship, unless you've got a very specialised use case, which for bounty hunting you don't. So go for an Atlas. You'll get one of those in Hurston L5. You don't need to change it, but it just speeds things up. Your shield generators, again, you're going into combat, so yeah, you might want a slightly better shield generator, but Mr. Miyagi say, best form of defense, no be there. If you don't get hit, you don't really need shields. So that's the optimal solution, is don't get shot. But if you're going to get shot, upgrade your shield generator. You could do worse than a Palisade. But yeah, for the purposes of this video, we're keeping it basic. You can leave the shields basic. Weapons. Ooh, that's a lot, a lot to be looking at. So let's just boil this down. Let's assume you're flying a Titan. Take off the Gatling gun from the nose, because you don't want to be worrying about ammo, and your trigger discipline as a basic new player is going to be terrible. So swap it for a repeater. Again, any laser repeater that you can fit on the ship is going to be just fine. Now, a lot of experienced players will say, right, yeah, what you want to do is you want to upgrade your guns, get rid of the gimbals and just go fixed, because you'll do more damage. And yeah, you will if you hit. But there's every possibility as a new player that you're not going to hit. So I would recommend stick with the gimbals. They make life an awful lot easier. So this ship still has the gimbals attached. We are basically running 1 level 3 repeater and 2 level 2 repeaters. For the Aurora, you're going to be slightly undergunned. The Mustang, pretty much fine with your 2 level 2s that I think you get as standard. But even with the Aurora, you can do it. You just need a wee bit more patience. I would recommend probably thinking about upgrading the ship to a light fighter as soon as you can, though. So our basic loadout of weapons, I would recommend stick with laser repeaters. Have them gimbaled if you can, because it's going to make life easier. And that's basically it. You don't need to worry about changing out any missiles. We're not really going to be using missiles much for the purposes of this. And if you want to, swap out the quantum drive for an Atlas, which again you will get at Hurston L5 station. But you don't need to. You can stick with the stock one. You're just going to be a little bit slower getting from point A to point B. Well, that's not something you see every day. I've got a random dead body next to my ship. Hey-ho, such a Star Citizen. Right, so There are two main types of bounty hunting missions. You'll get the ones that are in space, usually in an asteroid field, or you'll get the ones on a planetary surface. And generally speaking, the planetary atmospheric ones you will find at Microtech and ArcCore, whereas the ones in space you're more likely to find at Hurston and Crusader, although you will get atmospheric ones potentially in both of those places. So we are at Everest Harbour by Hurston. We'll call up our contracts manager into the bounty hunting tab, and what we got. I've got everything here from very low risk up to high risk. We're going to go for, obviously for the purposes of this, a very low risk target, so we'll select that one. Now, if this is your first bounty hunting mission, you will probably have something that will say bounty hunting accreditation. It's always a hard word to say for me, that one. That's actually going to cost you money to do, usually 500 creds. The Bounty Hunters Guild seem to want people to put down a wee bit of money to show that they actually have what it takes. But once you've done that one, you start getting paid. But it's basically going to be the same as a very low risk target. So for the purposes of this, your first mission is going to be very similar to this one here. What does it say? It says we're fighting a single seater craft, minimal support, probably be another ship. Very rare that you only get one. And they are on Aberdeen, so that's fine. So we'll set a course to Aberdeen, centre that here, click on Aberdeen, and yeah, we can get a direct route to that, so that's nice. And I'll just fly over to Aberdeen, and I'll come back once we're near the position. Okay, so I can see by looking at this one that it's going to be atmospheric. We kind of knew that because it was talking about a cave in Aberdeen. This is one of the ones, and it's a reasonably good one to use as an example, that it's just a real pain in the ass, because as you can see I am 247 kilometers away from the target, and there is no point that is particularly handy for me to bounce to. If I look around, these guys on the other side, 600 kilometers away, I could possibly bounce down to this and close a wee bit of this distance. We'll try that. Don't really want to fly 230 kilometers if I can avoid it, because it's going to take a long time. So yeah, we shaved a wee bit of time off that, not much, but a little bit, at the expense though of using some fuel, because we are now deep in the atmosphere and we're going to burn fuel and go a little bit slower than we would do if we were higher, so we're just getting a wee bit of altitude. Maximise the speed that we can do, and we'll close in on this guy, and I'll come back when we're a wee bit closer. Okay, so we're about 30 kilometers away, which is likely, if this target had been sitting at an arc point, it's about the distance that we would probably have been at when we jumped in. So a couple of points here. One, it's quite good that you get a chance to see the fact that such missions do exist, and you don't just think that you're going mad because you've got to fly 150 kilometers to get to your target. It's a nuisance, and I think we all wish it wasn't like this, but some of the missions are like this, most of them aren't. So most of them you will actually get a marker to aim at. Now, because we're on Aberdeen, the atmosphere here is exceptionally thick and exceptionally muggy. You cannot see anything if you're near the surface of the moon, and it's actually quite easy in the heat of the moment to forget which way's up and to fly into the moon. Not really a good way to end your run. So what I'm going to recommend for a mission like this, in somewhere like Aberdeen, but any moon really, if you want to make yourself just a wee bit safer, keep some height, right? Keep sort of a good few thousand meters in the air, fly close to your target so they see you, and then get a little bit more height, and with any luck some of the targets will follow you up. It just gives you a bit more room to play about. So that's what we're going to try and do here. At 11 kilometers now, I would expect them to be picking me up. I'm surprised I haven't got a radar warning yet. There we are. And there we go. So that's our first target. And it's actually the one we're looking for. So this guy might be on his own. But I don't want to fight him up here. Or down there. I want to fight him up here. So I'm going to try and see if he'll come up and play with us up here. And for the purposes of demonstration here, I'm going to show you what the AI tends to do when you're involved in a fight with them. What they generally will do is they will just head directly for you because they're suicidal fools, and they will try and ram you, and it's not very good. So we're just firing a few shots off. I'll show you here. If I just stand here, he will come straight towards me and veer off at the last moment. If I was going towards him though, we would probably have collided. So I'm not going to shoot him much at the moment. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what I'm doing. Right, so you can see by the thrusters I am side strafing. And if I continue to side strafe, he's shooting at where I was, not where I am. If he'd any sense he'd be locking missiles on me. That's an Eclipse. Incredibly powerful torpedoes in an Eclipse. So the AI, not very bright, it will frequently try and ram you. If it does shoot you, you just side strafe. So you just keep a finger like I am, like you see from the thrusters. If I put my finger on it now, you'll see that I'm moving off to the side. Not currently moving forward, but I can do it the forward and sideways at the same time. If you want to, you can also do a bit of up instead of the side. The AI will generally shoot at where you were, not where you are. So I'm just really demonstrating this because it gives you some feeling that as long as you do the side strafe, you're pretty safe. Especially if there's only one target. But we're not going to kill anything like this, so let's go back into the cockpit. You can see the target and reticle ahead of him. I use a lead pip. Some people will tell you that they prefer the lag pip. You can find videos on the difference between the two. If it goes green, you know you're going to hit. But generally speaking, if you fire reasonably close to it, you're going to hit. I haven't even turned the gimbals on. So this is kind of I'm making my own life very difficult. If you are doing this for the first time, well, if you're doing it with gimbaled guns, you might as well use the gimbals. And that is now going to track that pip, even if we're not pointing directly at it. So, close the distance a wee bit till our target becomes, bigger, and start shooting. We can see by the flash that we're hitting. Now, I just ran out of weapon power there. Again, I could raise power to the weapons, but that's getting away from the basic level that we're aiming at in this video. So and I'm not really following my own advice because we're very close to the ground. So what we will do is a wee bit of speed and a wee bit of height. We'll get back up to about 5,000 or so and see if we can lure him a wee bit out of this atmosphere here. When you try to do a sharp turn, there's a couple of ways you can make it easier on yourself. One is to use the boost button and boost to your thrusters as you go into the turn. The other is to decouple the ship, but again that's something for an advanced video. He is now damaged, and as long as we keep a wee bit of pressure on to stop him regenerating his shields, pretty easy. Okay, so as you can see, as long as you keep your head and you keep some sort of strafe going on, then you won't be rammed and the target will find it very, very difficult to hit you. Now, one other thing that I will mention, when you're picking your mission up, and we're going to be looking for another one now, so let's have a look and see what we've got. There's another very low risk target, we'll take that. But we will also go into the mercenary tab and we'll take a call to arms, because for every ship that we kill, a call to arms will give us bonus of 500, 1000, even 1500 sometimes, so it's all extra money and it doesn't cost anything. Now we've got to jump over to Beijing. at Magda, and we will repeat the exercise, and I'll be back when we're there. Right, so this one, we have a target marker and we can see an asteroid field, so we know we're going to be fighting in there. So that can be dangerous, especially if you don't have a good sense of awareness. It's quite easy to accidentally fly into an asteroid and blow up. However, the targets have also been known to do that as well, so that does kind of go both ways. So this time I'm looking to see if there's more than one, or if we're just going to get the one guy again. And we'll close the distance. We might as well at this point press G for gimbals. And just for the sake of example, because we've got them, I'm going to click my mouse wheel to bring up the missiles. Press G. So we're now firing 2 missiles in a salvo. And we'll wait until we get a bit closer and get a target lock on something, and we'll fire up a couple of missiles just because we've got them. This is the kind of thing that I suppose most people would probably be trying. Now, obviously missiles cost money, laser repeaters don't, so you are cutting into your profit margin by doing this, but there's a wee bit of a cheaty trick, which I wouldn't recommend because it doesn't seem right, but you certainly can do it. I mean, we're wearing a noob suit, we've got nothing to lose. You can fire off all your missiles, fly back towards your home base, and then just self-destruct the ship. And then reclaim it and get your missiles back. So they've locked us, and we can see then there's 2 of them. We've got Doherty here in another Avenger. Missiles away. He's decoyed them up, I think. Now he's firing at me, so I'm going to press a couple of flares, which is H. You can also press J for noise. Try a couple of more missiles. And he decoyed them again. Do it the old-fashioned way. So yeah, he's gone straight for a ram again. And I'm just keeping my finger on the strafe button, and that's the end of him. What else have we got? Oh, another stalker. This is our actual target. You can see he's firing away off to the side. And the gimbals are making it really easy for me to keep a lock on him. He's firing in short bursts. And you can see how easy it would have been to fly into the asteroid. And that's the end of him. So, very low risk targets are indeed very low risk, especially if you remember to keep your finger on the strafe button. Now once you've killed a few at very low risk, you'll move up to low risk, and then to medium risk, and then to high risk, and then to very high risk, and eventually to extreme. But for the purposes of this video, basic introduction to bounty hunting, that's it ladies and gents. It's not difficult. It feels a wee bit daunting the first time you fly into combat, but if you remember to keep your finger on the side strafe button or the up and down strafe button, then you're unlikely to be hit and you're unlikely to be rammed, and then it's just keep a cool head, bursts of fire into the target when you're pretty sure you're going to hit it, and they will go down and you won't, and you will make money. It's not at this level a ton of money that you'll make, but that money does go up quite a lot. As you get to extreme risk group targets and things like that, I believe the highest pay is about 90,000 for one bounty mission. So yeah, you know, you can eventually start making money, and you can chain them together quite quickly. Do them in groups with friends. There are a number of options, but it's good fun. Even for somebody like me who makes most of my money mining, it is good fun just sometimes to go out and get involved in a bit of a rammy. So I hope you've got something out of watching this video. So if you haven't taken your ship into combat before, hopefully this has put some of your fears to rest, that you can go in there and you can make some kills, you can have a bit of fun, and that's basically all we're looking for at this level. So that's it for now. Star Citizen University aims to be the premier teaching organisation within the game, to flatten the learning curve and basically help newer players find their feet as soon as possible. If you want to be involved, either as a newer player or as a teacher, please look us up. The details will be underneath the video. Thanks very much for watching, and fly safe.